Welcome, welcome. I first want to just say thank you so much. I know it is a very busy time of year right now, and that you are joining me today. I recognize that you're busy working in your business, doing everything you can to get your clients filed on time and be able to do the things that keep your head above water right now. And that today, my feeling is by joining us, you're working on your business. You're getting those advanced insights, some additional knowledge you can immediately implement to raise the bar as far as the clients that you serve and the level of services that you offer. Today's topic is 5 steps to package your services to stop competing on price. Now, one of the things that I know, I grew up in a family of accountants. My brother's a CPA, my son-in-law, my sister-in-law. I've been surrounded by people in the accounting profession my entire life. And what I've seen is the work you do is highly meaningful. You can make a big difference for your clients. And that so often the work that you do can make that difference, but the fees you charge don't reflect the value of the services that you offer. And that is what I'm on a mission to change, is to make sure that you're being well compensated for the work and the difference that you make for your clients. You deserve that. If you find that you've been asked to do some work for someone and maybe you quoted a fee too soon and realize that you undercharged for it, or you just don't have the right words to really adequately explain the value of the services that you offer and that difference that you can make for clients, or possibly you find yourself remaining price competitive, if any of those things apply to you, then you're absolutely in the right place. A little bit about me is that I'm a sports psychologist turned business coach. And what I have found is that there are so many similarities between athletes who want to be at the top of their game and growth-minded firm owners. And even though we all want to be the best that we could possibly be, there's a couple of differences, 3 of them I found, between athletes and business owners. One is we wear slightly different uniforms than athletes do. 2 is that we're aiming for different numbers than they are. And the third one is that athletes, even from the very beginning as peewees, have someone on the outside that is mentoring, coaching, giving them tips on how to be able to have their best performance and game possible. Whereas business owners, we are very, very client-centric. We enjoy serving our clients, but so often the rates we charge don't reflect the value of that services. And so what happens is, yes, you could have your dream firm, but you might have a lot of ups and downs as you navigate that path because you're doing it yourself instead of reaching out and having someone that can guide you along the way. So once again, you can absolutely have your dream firm, and you might be able to get there sooner if you had someone on the outside that can guide you along the way to avoid some of those mishaps. Anyway, I have been listed as one of the top 22 business coaches by HubSpot, and that is my #1 Amazon bestseller, The Success Solution. Now, going through school, I found that they do a great job of giving you the theory, the know-how to do what you do really, really well, but they also prepare you to be employees working in someone else's firm or business as opposed to being business owners. And because of that, there tend to be 3 different gaps. The first gap is that you don't necessarily have the right words to communicate the value of services that you offer your clients, that difference that you can make for them. So you might stumble in that place or focus on the wrong things that could actually lower your value. The second part is you're not sure how to price your services because they don't really teach price strategies in school, even in the Department of Business Administration. And the third thing is sales. How do you have consultations that feel really genuine and client-centered when you might not want to be salesy? You don't want to push or pressure someone in working with you. And so you need to know how to have those enrolling consultations that are still very client-centered. So those are the 3 gaps that I have found for firm owners, is communicating your value, pricing your services, and how to enroll clients if you might not like the sales part. What I'm going to cover today is how to earn more. Then we're going to transition into highlighting your value, and we will wrap up with 5 steps to packages. If you want to have any further conversations about this, you want to implement this into your firm, you've been thinking about it for a while, and it's time to finally get it done, then I will show you how to connect with me as we go through the presentation. So we're going to get started with how to earn more. And before we do that, I do have a poll. There we go. How do you charge your clients an hourly rate, flat fee, value pricing, or combination? And as we're going along, if you have any questions, please let me know. I would love to be able to give you exactly what you need to be able to start implementing this. Okay, as far as the responses go, I'm going to shut this down. Charging your clients, 14% said hourly rate, and 86% has a combination. Now, what I'm teaching is right out of the Raise Your Rates formula, which is part of the scope of work that I do with my clients. And I found that even having the essence of this will help you to really raise the bar as far as the level of services that you offer your clients, as well as the clients that you are attracting to your firm. So I'm just going to go through these real quickly. The very first one is ideal client, because in the beginning, you are accepting everybody that says yes and is willing to pay your fees. So over time, you realize that you're ending up with a wide range of clients, from low value to high value, the ones that give you headaches and the ones that are a joy to work with. What we want to do is be very aware of what are the things that make someone a high value client compared to what makes someone a low value client. And as a result of that, we can be more intentional on doing those things that attract those high value clients to your firm. That goes right into number 2, which is communicating your value. That's where we now know the qualities and the priorities for your higher value clients. And we can now use that in some of the messaging, whether it's on your website, social media posts. When you go to a networking event and someone asks you what it is that you do, you can have those words that has them be interested, it grabs their attention, and they want to know more. Number 3, which is what we're taking a deep dive into today, is all about packaging your services. It's a little bit different than that long a la carte laundry list that I see on most websites on your services page, where you're listing out every single thing that you can possibly offer clients. What we want to do is shift away from the a la carte services and focus on what are the outcomes that your clients need and would benefit from and find value in. And it depends on where they are in their business size as well as their business journey. So we want to be able to bundle select services together, and that way they are outcome focused and you can put them into packages, and it starts to separate your fees from time. That goes right into value pricing, a topic that is near and dear to my heart for firm owners, is how to be able to move away from the traditional hourly rate or fixed fee over to value pricing, which is a different way of looking at how to charge for your services. When you're looking at value pricing, you're looking at the value from the client's perspective instead of what matters to you, which is typically time, cost, and a little bit of profit margin. So with value pricing, you're pricing the value to the client, and as a result of that, you can earn 2 to 3 times more than with traditional pricing models, and I will give you the formula for that in section 2 today. And then number 5 is consultation mastery. If you're having those enrolling conversations and you don't really like the sales part, you don't want to pressure or push anybody into working with you and saying yes, and maybe you even let go of a client too soon as an objection is raised because it catches you off guard and create some anxiety, then you want to ask great questions and have what I call a value conversation. And at the end of that conversation, clients naturally ask, how do we get started? So those are the 5 steps of the Raise Your Rates formula: is ideal client, communicate your value, package your services, which we're going into today, value pricing, and consultation mastery. And the reason that I want to start off with talking about pricing right off the bat is because so many firm owners start out, it's an evolution with how you price your services. We start out with an hourly rate, most of us, because that's how we got paid in the beginning, was for our time when we joined the workforce and started working for somebody else. And when you become a firm owner, there's a lot that you need to do to kickstart your firm and get business. So you stick with what you know because you just have so much on your plate already. You might not even realize that other pricing options exist. But when you continue to charge for your time, then it creates what I call a tug of war. You have you and your client at opposite ends of the rope, where your client wants you to work as quickly as possible to be able to pay you as low as possible because you're charging for your time. Whereas for you as a firm owner, you're not incentivized to go any faster, because the fact that if you go faster, you speed things up, then your invoices will be lower than when you didn't have those things happening. And what happens as a result of this with the pricing tug of war, and why I feel it's unfair to you and your clients also, is because for you, as you're in the field longer and longer, you're going to become more efficient than when you first started out. You have so much more insights and know-how than when you first started out also. And I don't believe that you ought to be punished for that because you happen to do something faster or you adopted some new technology that's allow you to automate something that you previously did manually. So once again, I am not a fan of charging for your time, whether it's an hourly rate or fixed fee. I believe in focusing on the value that you deliver. And by doing that, it actually gets everybody on the same page because there is now transparency. Okay, and Nicholas said also that when you go too fast, you do end up sometimes getting sloppy. Absolutely. The other thing that I see, especially when you are offering a la carte services, and I look at your website on that services page and I see everything listed there, it actually is focusing more on what you do, the tasks and the activities. And when you are focused and leading with the work that you actually do, then you create the perception that you're a technician. You're someone that does data entry. And let's just face it, your clients don't understand what's required to actually do taxes and bookkeeping appropriately. They just see it as a function. So when you lead with the function, you're perpetuating that myth that it is just about data entry. And once again, then they wonder why you might be charging so much, and it keeps you price competitive. But when we step away of focusing and leading with the tasks and the activities, and we focus more on solutions that you can offer, how you can help your client maybe solve a problem, be able to help them with growing or some other priorities that they have, then they see you more as that expert. And as a result of that, you have perceived greater value. It doesn't mean that you are any different. It's just which one do you lead with? And I want you to consider, instead of leading with the tasks and the workflows, what if you led with the solutions, because you have the knowledge to know what tasks to do, and then the task becomes secondary as to why someone is engaging your services. Now, I know as a firm owner, you're probably very, very client-centered, and that there are probably things that you do without compensations. So I'm going to put in the chat, what are some of the things you've done for your clients without charging them? And would love to hear you put in the chat. Join me. I love having the interaction with you about things that you've done and you've never, ever charged for. And that could go all the way back to when COVID first happened and you had to figure out how to do the PPP loans and all the other things that came with that shutdown. And you did it out of just really wanting to help your clients and being able to help them keep their business solvent because it was the right thing to do. So think about, what are all the things that you do for your clients that you never, ever, ever get compensated for? Nicholas said simple answers are at the top of his head when there's no research required. But the reason that there is no research required is because of the fact that this is your area of expertise. And those are the questions that you probably commonly answer for many of your clients. So once again, being able to give those simple answers. But think about, Nicholas, if they were to have to figure that out for themselves, how long would it take them? And would they actually really get the accurate information, especially if they're using TikTok as their resource? So once again, being able to give information without getting compensated because you want to be helpful and you care about your clients. So Sam said also giving advice, be on call. Oh my gosh, who out here is on call 24/7 where their clients can reach out to them at any time, any day, and they expect a response back, whether it's a major holiday or whether it's just your personal time off from work. So being on call, responding to queries, and once again, giving away advice for free. So I believe that when we start to package your services, then we can take all these things that you do give away for free, you're not getting compensated for, we can bring them into your packages, and now clients are aware that they have value and you're actually getting compensated for them. The other thing Robin was saying is providing referrals. Okay, that's like your little black book. I want to say that is a great thing that you put out there, is making connections that are qualified of very, very high value. It saves your clients the time of researching it on the web, maybe picking someone, and maybe that person is qualified or not, but they just look really good on the internet. So making some qualified referrals and doing client-specific research when you have to look something up, especially if it's tax-related, that could take you down a whole rabbit hole. So, and then who here does not charge for being on the phone with the IRS on hold for so long before somebody answers the phone and gets to you? So whether it's that you need to do customer support for a client with maybe their Intuit product or the IRS, and you're doing that outreach for them, that is something to think about as well. Now, value. The value you offer is different from your point of view than it is from your client's point of view. Now, both sides have value, but you value different things about what you do than your client does. From your point of view, you're looking at your time, because time is a commodity. You're looking at operational costs, and you want to have enough profit margin so that you can make a decent living with what you're doing. And if you have a team, to be able to support them as well. So those are the things that are important to you, especially your time, because time is finite. And once that minute's gone, it is gone forever. You can never get it back. Now, from your client's point of view, something to think about is they don't really care how long something takes. They are more interested and value the fact that you have the know-how to be able to implement and deliver a certain result. So what they care about more is what you know, what's in your head, which is your expertise, your intellectual property, and your years of doing this in order to be able to do it correctly. So that's your highest value from a client's point of view. Once again, what you value is important to you, which is your time, but what your client's value is actually your ability to solve their problem. So start to ask yourself, what are the solutions that you offer your clients, and how does that make a difference for them? And think about it. Have you ever offered a client a solution that way exceeded how much they're charging you? So I'm just curious. I'm going to put in the chat, what's a high value solution that you offered a client? So once again, put in the chat, what's a high value solution that you've offered your client that really made a difference? Maybe you brought in another 4 figures, 5 figures, 6 figures, or even 7 figures because you were able to help them either solve a problem or be able to grow in a very intentional way. The other thing to look at is when people make decisions, we usually have to compare one option to another. It's part of why people get lost in research, and then they've researched so much they get overwhelmed, and then they postpone making a decision anyway. But what happens with your pricing is if you are offering a packet, I'm sorry, let me back up. If you're just offering one proposal and they can either work with you this way or move on, then they are considering, do I work with you or do I go in another direction with another option, or maybe even just do nothing? And the other way, though, is if you offer packages, you can now give them several different packages to consider. And as a result of that, it changes the question a little bit to, do I want to work with you or move on, to now, how do I want to work with you? Which package is the best fit for me based on what you're offering and what I need? So once again, the way people make decisions, it's how our brains are wired based on neuroscience, is that we need to make comparisons. And sometimes they're not even logical comparisons. But if you just give them one option in a proposal, they're going to think about, do I work with you or do I move on? Now, if you give them 3 package choices, then they're going to look at which one is a best fit for me. So once again, we do make decisions by comparison. When you give them options to choose from, you're more likely to actually capture more clients than if you just give them one option and they say yes or move on. When I first connected with Karen, she was doing a lot of a la carte services with her clients, so everybody had a little bit of a different service. There was nothing really standard with anything that she was doing. And even though she had a team, because it was all over the place with what her clients needed, it just wasn't very efficient for her or her firm. It meant that she was at capacity. She didn't really have room to grow. And as a result of that, she started giving up her personal life in order to be able to meet the needs of her clients. I'm sure that there are some people that have made that sacrifice as well. So this was exhausting. It wasn't what she wanted any longer. And what we did, oh my, let's see. That was interesting. Okay, let's see if I can get it this time. Well, that's not going to come up. Anyway, what she did is she created packages and she had 3 different options. She had a silver, gold, and a platinum level. And she recognized that her clients who were primarily attorneys and had law firms, that was her niche, that they had different levels of business sizes. And because that their firms were different sizes, they had different needs. So the silver package were for the smaller firms that had maybe solo partners up to maybe 2 partners. And then the middle package, which was the gold, were for larger law firms that had more partners, more associates, a higher payroll, so there was more complexity, and that she was able to do additional service, give them additional insights, and help them with their invoice and to cut down on their AR. And then the third package was for law firms that had a lot of partners, they had multiple offices, and that they had a lot more financial complexities and looking more for outsourced CFO level services. By doing this, it allowed her to be more productized, create more systems. So she was able to get some things off of her plate onto her team's plate. And as a result of that, they started paying her more because now she was focusing on the result instead of the task that she was doing. And it allowed her to buy her dream home, which was a turn of the century home that needed to be completely regutted and renovated. And that was a joy project for her that she's been wanting to do forever. So once again, by being able to go to packages, she didn't lose clients. She actually gained higher value clients, but she also got back her personal time in her life to be able to take on this dream project, which she never would have been able to do with the way that her business was currently set up. And that is something that's possible for you too. So I'm going to go into poll number 2. How often do you raise your rates? Less than once per year, annually, more than once per year, or only with new clients? And I just want to check in. Does anybody have any questions? You can either unmute yourself and ask me, or you can put in the chat. I would love to know what questions you have. Faith, I know that you put something in the chat. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Sure. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I think it's sometimes hard to know what's important to the client. And so there's certain questions that we should be asking. I'm charging by the hour, but I'm feeling that I really need to go into like package type pricing or something like that
Mhm.
because the better we get at it, the less money we make.
Absolutely. I'm on the same page as you are. And if you think you're undercharging, this is true for anybody, then you probably are. I just want to say that. So what you want to do, and that's a very insightful question that you asked, is that you want to start asking your clients not just the fundamental questions about how many transactions a month, how many bank accounts, and so on and so forth. You want to ask them some insights about what it is that they want to achieve, maybe where they have some frustrations, what are some things that they would like to have in place but don't have in place yet. And this starts to give you some insights as to what priorities they have. And as a result of that, you can now look at creating packages that are more aligned with what your clients want to achieve. Some of them want to focus on business development. Others might want to just improve their cash flow. They don't even realize that cash flow and profit margin are two different things. So that's something to think about. There might be clients that want to make better decisions based on the financials and they haven't done it up until now. So that, or maybe they've been doing it up and on their own, they're at capacity, so they don't do it. It's rushed at the end of the year and they end up with a surprise tax bill. So those are some things to think about is what is important to your client so that you can then focus on those things and enrolling them into that solution you can offer as opposed to the task that you're doing. Does that answer your question a little bit, Faith, or was there something else about that?
No, it definitely answered most of my question. You had said at the beginning, what do you want to achieve and where are your frustrations? There was one other thing that you said we should be asking.
Um, well, it's on the recording about 27
Okay,
minutes in, but basically I would look at what is it that you want to achieve, where, what are your current frustrations? And is it, oh, I know the third one was, is this something you would like to be doing that you're not currently able to do right now?
great. Thank
Yeah,
you so
yeah,
much.
absolutely. And Robin, you had a question. Did you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask that?
Sure, thanks so much. Yeah, so I've found myself in a predicament a lot of times where, a client will come in and they just say they want simple bookkeeping services. And then before I know it, I'm giving away free CFO, fractional CFO level
Oh
service.
my gosh. You know what? Everybody gets the same level of service no matter how much they pay you per month, right?
Well, for mine, I have different price levels. Like if they just want, basic bookkeeping, it's one price. And then if I'm doing fractional CFO stuff, it's another. So I guess, you're saying transition to what your approach is and that solves the problem.
Right. What I would say is look at packages. Basically, I think what might be a solution for you, Robin, is that it would help to set very clear expectation as part of your onboarding process and really give them some insights as to how to be a good client for you and how you can best serve them. So I would actually bring it into your onboarding process, setting clear expectations as to what you can expect from them and also what they can expect from you. And also include, sometimes as you grow, your needs change. And when you're asking for something that's outside of our current work, then I'm going to check in with you and we'll talk about it, and as well as what the investment would be. Does that help a little bit, Robin, and answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, excellent. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. Raising your rates less than once per year is 9%. Annually is 64%. More than once per year, 18%. So happy to hear that. And only with new clients is 9%. Perfect. And I just want to say there is a connection between value and price. However, this is kind of messy. There's really no set formula. And I know that charging an hourly rate seems very, very logical because you know your hourly rate, you're tracking your time, you're multiplying your time by your hourly rate, you come up with how much they owe you, you send the invoice. It seems logical, but I'm going to say that your clients don't value your time as much as you do. Think about how often people pay for something to be faster. There's overnight delivery. You pay 3 to 4 times more FedEx overnight than you do if it was ground service. You can go to Disney World and you pay for a fast pass to be able to cut to the line and get to the front of the line quicker than everybody else that has to wait an hour or two to ride a 5-minute ride. So think about the fact that sometimes speed actually has value, especially if someone's coming to you on April 5th. They want you to get their taxes done by the deadline. So once again, there is value to speed. And that's something to recognize. But the other thing is that different clients value different things. And a way to look at this is look at the vehicles on the road. Not everybody drives the same exact make model with the same features inside. Some people are driving the economy cars because all they need is to get safely from their home to that meeting. Other people are driving mid-sized cars, that's the majority of vehicles on the road, because they want some more amenities in that particular vehicle. Maybe they need a larger size because they are carrying a lot of cargo or family members. And then there's some people that want to have the luxury ride because they want a certain experience driving when they're on the road. And maybe they want to conduct business while on the road, so they want to go for the hands-free driving option as well. So that's something to think about with your clients also, is that they are looking for a certain experience and access to you. And there's value to that as well, similar to the fact that there's so many different vehicles on the road. You have clients and they each have some slightly different things that they value. And the way that you work with them, the customer service, the level of customer service is something that can be considered when you look in a package and price your services as well. And I'm just going to say, if you don't like tracking your time, or maybe you don't, and you're just kind of like trying to figure it out and make it up at the end of the month, remember what you did so you can send out your invoices. And invoicing is a chore for you. And the collections part is not fully automated. So you have to wait for people. Some people still send you paper checks. Some people are just late with everything, including paying your invoice. If any of that is a headache, then the packages actually solve that. And one of the things I'm going to put in the chat is, what percentage of clients would you say that you have are financially savvy? And just want to be, I'm curious what you think. I found that there's so many business owners, even ones that have 6 and possibly 7-figure businesses, that don't really understand how money works in their business. So Tanya said 20% of her clients are financially savvy. Anybody else want to share what that number is? It's usually not a very high number. Okay, I told you I was going to show you how, Robin said maybe 10 to 20% are financially savvy, but they all think that they are. That is great. Okay, so I was mentioning to you that if you're now charging an hourly rate or a fixed fee, but it's based on your time, and you want to be able to move away from that over towards value pricing, so you can value price your packages, then this is a way to do it. And I also want to say, mistake that I see with packages a lot of times is when firm owners continue to figure out how many hours will this amount of work take and how much is my hourly rate, and they're still charging for their time even though it's a fixed fee. I want to say you're leaving money on the table if you do that. This is where we can start to price for the outcome and the solution, not the task required to achieve that solution. So once again, if you want to start moving towards value pricing, and maybe you haven't heard me share this and teach this because I talk about this a lot, this is similar to first learning how to ride a 2-wheel bicycle. If you can go back to those first memories, I fell over a lot. I know I skinned my elbow a couple of times before I finally figured out the balance part and we could take off the training wheels. So this is similar to first learning to ride a bicycle, where I'm giving you the training wheels of shifting to value pricing. And I call it the good, better, best model. So what you want to do in the beginning, have people come into you for services, figure out what that original flat fee would be that you would charge them for those services. And then what I want you to do is multiply that original flat fee by 1.5. That will be your new good rate. I want you to enroll 3 people at that new good rate. This gives you some insight that people aren't quite as price sensitive as you thought that they were. After you enroll those 3 people at your new good rate, we go up to tier 2, which is your new better rate. Once again, people are coming to you. They want to know how much it will be to engage your services. Come up with that original flat fee that you would charge. And now we're going to multiply it by 2x. This will be your new better rate. And as you're enrolling people into this, you're getting better now at having that initial consultation where you're asking better questions. You understand what might be coming up as far as concerns from them, additional questions. You're able to bring out the value more and focus on solutions instead of tasks and workflows. Once again, you want to now enroll 3 people at your new better rate. And once you do that, we move up to tier 3, which is your new best rate. Once again, people will be coming to you, come up with that original flat fee. Now we're going to multiply it by 3x. I'm going to let you know, multiplying by 3x takes courage. The confidence comes later. But we're going to be offering that new best rate to clients that are coming to you. And they're going to start saying yes. And what's going to happen now is you're now earning 3 times more than what you were originally charging, no additional time spent working, but you're leading now with your expertise, and they're seeing you more as that consultant as opposed to the technician. Because you don't need as many clients to meet your revenue needs, this means that you're getting back some free time, which you can either take for self-care and take back some of the things maybe that you sacrificed before when you were working more hours, or you can focus on business development or start to bring in higher level advisory services for your clients, or do projects that have been on a back shelf that you couldn't get to, and now you have the capacity to get to those. So once again, this is the way to start moving towards value pricing, is with the good, better, best model. And at some point, that new best price will need to be recalibrated, bring it to the bottom, and you can go through this all over again. Something to think about as far as how to consider value pricing is, this is the essence of the definition. The client needs to believe that what they have to gain from investing in your services is greater than the fees that they are paying you. Once again, what you want to do, and this is really comes through in the conversations that you have, and especially that initial consultation, what you put on your website, marketing material, they need to believe that what they have to gain from investing in you is going to be greater than the fees that they are paying you. And that is the essence of value pricing. With Susan, she was charging low competitive rates, which means that she had a factory style firm. She had a lot of clients that were she was working with, and they thought she was available 24/7. So they would text her on Sunday night at 8:15. She would immediately drop what she would be doing with her family and go answer their question. It was exhausting. This was not a sustainable business model. So we went ahead and started to change this over to the Raise Your Rates formula. And because she's an accounting professional, she keeps everything on an Excel spreadsheet. So I want to bring your attention to cleanup number 1 on the second half of the chart. Basically, when she had someone come to her for a cleanup project, and if she would have just calculated her time by her hourly rate, she would have charged them $1,500, and she underestimated 100% of the time on these projects. So we had a quick conversation, and we talked about the value from the client's point of view. We went ahead and priced the project at $7,900, and she knew the exact questions to ask so that they would see the value. She knew how to talk about the project and the investment, and also how to ask to be paid in full before she started the work. It was all laid out for her in a system. So she was shaking in her boots when she did this, because she didn't like these enrolling conversations anyway, and this made her very nervous. But because she just had to follow one step at a time, she did that. They said yes. They paid her in full the $7,900, which meant an additional $6,400 in pure profit for her. And this gave her the insight that people weren't quite as price sensitive as she thought. So she started raising the rates on clients with projects coming in. As you can see, she bought an additional $56,000 in about 9 months. But the other thing that happened, she got her life back. She went from working 7 days, 70-hour weeks, down to 3 days, 20-hour work weeks. So not only did she cut back on her workload, but she also was able to grow her bank account. And that is possible for you too. So if you would like the steps to be able to start to package your services and go through that good, better, best pricing model that I shared, then I have a free resource for you. You can either scan the QR code or you can go to businesssuccesssolution.com/package and grab that free resource to start moving in this direction. We're going to move forward to 5 steps to package your services. And once again, I do have a poll question. Do you offer packages right now? Yes, no, sometimes, tried, but didn't stick with it. And I do have another question I'm going to put in the chat. What problem do you solve for your clients? Would love to hear what that is. And I'm going to end the poll. Do you currently offer packages? 9% said yes, 55% said no, 18% said sometimes, and 18% said tried but didn't stick with it. And once again, would love to hear in the chat, what problem do you solve for your clients? So something to think about as you start to move towards packages is that a lot of times you'll think about the work that you're doing, and then you'll just kind of like throw things in different packages and then call it silver, gold, and diamond level packages. But I want you to start with the end in mind. I want you to now start thinking about this from a client-centric perspective, because I know that most of you are very client-centered firms. So I want you to create packages with your clients in mind and what they prioritize versus you and what you prioritize. So the first thing to consider is, who is the package for? Do you have a particular type of client that you work with? Is there maybe a particular segment, or are they at a particular place in their business evolution? Or maybe there's a range. Start to think about what types of, how to start categorizing your clients possibly. And if you're generalist, that is fine, because everybody needs certain things. And then there are certain industry specific things as well. So who are your packages for? Start to think about your clients, small, medium, and large. That's the great way to go. And it could be industry specific. It could also be, if you do something specific like forensic accounting, it could be that they're coming to you for that specific need also. And then that goes right into question number 2. When clients are coming to you, what are the challenges that they're having? Is it that they overpaid for taxes and they're tired of having that tax stress? Or is it possibly that they're looking to expand their business and they need to have some insights as far as cost analysis and budgeting goes to be able to move forward? Or possibly they're looking for a loan and they need to have all of their reports in place to where they are loan ready. So think about what are the specific problems that your clients solve, and each package will solve a little bit of a different problem. And then the last one is, how would your clients benefit from this solution that you can now offer them and enroll them into? So once again, if they were coming to you, okay, let's just stick with the fact that they had a surprise tax bill and they didn't have the funds in their bank account in order to pay for that tax bill on time. So now they're stressing out. So the problem that it solves is that maybe you're able to help them with the budgeting and be able to be tax compliant and get them set up with doing their quarterlies so they never, ever, ever have a surprise tax bill at the end of the year again. And what is the benefit to your client being able to do that? Well, first of all, they're not freaking out at the end of the year when they get that huge tax bill because they made a lot of money this year. They might be getting a better tax advantage also because they have their financials in place and they've been paying their quarterlies. So throughout the year, which actually will reduce what they would have to pay at the end of the year if they have to pay anything. So those are some things to think about just off the top of my head. I'm giving you some ideas so you can start looking at this from your client's perspective as well. And the other thing to think about is there are benefits to having packages. It's a little bit of a different business model than when you do the a la carte services. So some of the benefits are the improved efficiency because now things are more systematized and it's possible because there's some things that are repetitive. You could get them off of your plate and train someone on your team to do some of those tasks so that you can focus on business development or higher level services or project work that you enjoy doing. The other thing with packages is that you don't have to invoice any longer, get paid in arrears. You can now get paid beforehand. So that is something that I'm going to put in the chat. Do you get paid afterwards where you're invoicing for your work, or do you get paid prepaid before you actually start doing the work? So just interested in where you're at. The majority of firms actually get paid afterwards, is still invoicing. Tanya says it depends on the project. Anybody else want to chime in on that as to whether you get paid after or before? Anyway, I'm going to say if you don't like invoicing, tracking your time, sending out the invoices, following up with payment, and you know that that takes a certain amount of hours each month, then changing over to getting paid before you do the work is a game changer. It first of all takes away most of your AR, and also the fact is that clients actually are more likely to value what you offer. Faith says that she gets paid afterwards. Anybody else want to chime in as to whether they're invoicing or getting prepaid? The other thing is that with packages, you actually could set it up to get paid in full before you actually started the work, whether it is a particular project that you're doing for your clients, or if you are doing monthly bookkeeping services or actually tax strategy, you could get paid in full for your services a year in advance. In fact, one of my clients, she just went from invoicing to prepayment, and she said out of her clients, maybe she moved 20 clients onto packages, that 6 of them paid her in full for an entire year's worth of work. And the scope's very defined, it's very clear, and she is now getting prepaid for everything. So she did it within maybe a 30-day period of time. We made the transition from invoicing over to prepayment, and some of them said yes to paying in full. And as a result of that, she now has an inflow of cash, and it allows her to go ahead and invest in business development now in ways that she couldn't if she was invoicing and getting paid piecemeal throughout the whole year by all of her clients. So Michelle said invoicing. Nicholas said invoicing always. Client wanted to deduct the expense nearly always. So those are some different things that you've chimed in on. The other thing about packages is that there's a very specific work agreement that outlines the scope of what's included and what's excluded, and also addresses the process if somebody asking for work that is out of the scope of that package. So it's very clearly explained in your work agreement how you work with them, what you're doing for them, and what you're not doing for them, and the process if they want more. And the other thing is that it creates transparency. So there's better communication. If you've been wanting to build advisory services and didn't have the time, we actually can build the advisory services into your firm and your packages so that you're now working more closely with the clients that really want to have the insights into making better decisions for their business moving forward, or the clients that want to actually become as financially savvy as they think they already are. So those are some of the benefits of packages: improved efficiency, upfront fees, paid in full, work agreement, and better communication. So some of the steps to now start moving towards packages that you want to think about is, first of all, who are your quality clients? Are you a generalist? Do you have a particular niche that you work with? Do you maybe have a specialty that you offer clients that people come to you specifically for? So if you're a generalist, You still probably have to do certain things for all of your clients, and then you can have some things where you adapt the packages for that particular industry needs. So that is something to think about if you're still a generalist. If you have a niche, then we can go ahead and create packages that are very specific to your niche, because even if you're in real estate, that's your niche. Well, people that do construction and on the trades have very different needs than people that are real estate agents or real estate investors. So that's something to think about, is that real estate could be very, very broad. And do you really work better with people in the trades, or do you work with the people that are doing the buying and the selling? So that is something to think about. So that would be a niche of who you serve. So once again, the definition of a niche is who you serve. It could be industry, or it could be a certain personality type. And then the specialty is what you do for your clients. So if you are maybe having the niche of people in the trades, most of them bid on proposals. So, or sending in proposals to bid on work. Maybe what you can do is actually help them accurately do job costing. Give them better insights as to their labor costs. So they're realizing where there's efficiency and where there's not. And maybe some of the people that are 1099s, they ought to be transitioning into W-2 positions instead, because it'll be more cost effective. So once again, think about, is there a specialty, something that you just enjoy doing and your clients benefit from that? And that's something you can focus on with packages also. So quality clients, typically, who do you serve best? Do you have a niche? Do you serve a particular personality type? And also the specialty, do you do something specific for your clients? So what I found for me is that I have a niche and a specialty. I work only with accounting firm owners. So that could be bookkeepers, tax preparers, EAs, CPAs. And I focus on how to be able to get away from trading dollars for hours by working with a higher quality client, packaging your services, and also being able to value price those services as well, to where you're now prepaid instead of chasing money. So once again, step number 2 would be identify your client hurdles, which is similar to what I was talking about with Faith before. When you're meeting with clients, and this is current clients that you want to maybe transition over to packages or raise their fees, or new clients coming to you, you want to ask them certain questions beyond the fundamentals of financials. You want to ask them, what is it that you want to achieve within the next 12 months? What are some frustrations that you might have? Where are things now in your business? What would you be able to do once you got that result and were able to achieve those things? So that gives you some ideas as to what they are concerned about and top of mind for them. So once again, you want to know what is something that is important to them, and that is something to think about, and that helps you decide what your packages might be able to focus on. It gives you those insights. Now, if you never offered packages and you want to start doing them, this is what I want you to do. Get out a sheet, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet or whatever sheets you do. I just want you to do a brain dump. Dump all the different services that you do for your clients, including the ones you are never compensated for, including being on hold with the IRS for hours in order to get a question answered, or the research that you're doing, or the 5-minute questions that they want to ask that turn into 30-minute conversations. So go ahead and just do a brain dump of everything that you offer your clients as far as services, the things that you put on invoices, as well as the things that never ever make it onto an invoice that below the radar clients don't even know that you do for them. And once you've done that long laundry list, then in column number 2, I want you to take each item, and is it going to be something that is essential? They need it for tax compliance. Is it something that is preferred? Maybe they want to have these things because it'll help them make better business decisions or be able to increase the value of their business. So is it something that's preferred? It's beyond the essentials. Or is it something that's advanced? It's more of that CFO level advisory services. So once again, once you list everything you do, go ahead and just put it in a category of essential, preferred, or advanced, and that starts to tell you what ought to be in your silver package, what ought to be in your gold package and what ought to be in your diamond level package. It's similar to American Express. As you know, they have more than one credit card. They have different tiers of membership because they recognize not everybody wants the same amenities. Their green card is their starter card. It's about $97 a year. It gives them the most basic essential amenities of being an American Express member. And then the majority of clients are in the gold membership. That has additional amenities. It gives you access to airport lounge or concierge lounges at different events. And it also gives you some additional services, maybe with making travel arrangements. So it has more amenities, and that is of value to people that have a gold level card. And then the black card, you can't even apply for it. You have to be invited by American Express to be able to qualify for a black card, because you are spending a certain amount of money with them and putting it on your credit card. And so they'll then extend an invitation to get a black card, which gives you concierge services, first class priority with everything, a lot of benefits that nobody else will receive. And in order to get the American Express Black Card, you pay $5,000 a year for that membership level. And it's a credit card, but people will pay $5,000 a year because the amenities and also having a Black Card has status when you pull it out to pay for a service. So once again, this is something with your clients also. Are your clients more at that green level, which might be a silver level package? Are they more like the gold level, where most of your clients will be? Or do you have some clients that are much more advanced and they are at that black or diamond level service? And this is similar to what packages look like. So once again, when I create packages with my clients, we're doing the work together because I am able to help them understand what goes into the silver, the gold, and the diamond, and then help price them also so they don't continue to undercharge for their services because they're just calculating time by their hourly rate. So the silver is for the people that want the essentials. That's the compliance. They need their financials done on a monthly basis in order to be able to file their taxes at the end of the year. The gold are for people that have a larger business model and they want more insights in order to make better business decisions moving forward. They want to be able to know what their costs are. They want to be able to know how to budget for some things that they want to be able to invest in later on. So that's something that is appropriate for your gold level, is it gives them more insights to make better business decisions. And then the diamond is for business owners that might have multiple businesses. Maybe they have real estate investments also. They have more financial complexities, and they're at the point where they need outsourced CFO level services. So think about that for your clients also. Even if they're in the same vertical, you're going to have some that just want the essentials because they're a smaller or more simple business model. The majority of clients ought to be in the gold, and then the diamond is for your clients that have more complexity and need the outsourced CFO level services. So this was true for Vienna. She was a generalist in the beginning. She was doing all things for all people because she hated saying the word no. And what we did is we created some packages for her. She has silver, gold, and platinum. She focused on restaurant owners because she was in the industry for about 20 years. And she realized that the small mom and pops just needed the essentials and the silver. The gold was for restaurants that had a larger footprint, more payroll, so they had more transactions going on. And then the platinum was for maybe franchises or people that had multiple restaurants as well as the real estate. So this is something you can do for your clients as well. And it starts to make a difference to where you get back some of your time, and you can also work with your clients more deeply on what is of value to them based on where they are in their business journey. So what we covered is how to earn more, highlight your value, and 5 steps to packages. And if you feel that you got value from this, you want to have a further conversation, then let's go ahead and set up a time to talk. I would love to be able to hear where you're at and what it is that you want to achieve. It's a very dedicated conversation that's focusing on where you want to go with your firm. And you can go ahead and get that started at businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. You can scan the QR code to be able to get that set up. I would love to have further conversations with you. So once again, thank you so much. I know that you're busy working in your business, serving your clients, doing the things to be operational. You took time away today to work on your business, getting those advanced insights. I appreciate you doing that. And I look forward to having further conversations. Take care. Bye.